Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain you about Maven. So let's see what is Maven. Maven is a build and project management tool that's generally used in frameworks that are built in Java. It's developed by Apache Software Foundation and it's an open source tool. Maven is controlled by project object model file. We usually call it a SPOM file. So while working with frameworks that are built in Java, we often need to deal with number of dependencies. So I'll explain what is dependencies. You know, right? We are learning Java. It's used for both development as well as testing purpose. Assume I'm going to develop a Java application. I'll be having multiple layers like front end, middleware, back end. I'll be using a lot of existing libraries, Java libraries, to build different components. Say for an example, I want to connect to the database. I will be using the Java database connectivity driver as well as the library or JDBC we usually call it for Oracle. Similarly, say for an example, I'm going to create a front end using JSF, which is nothing but a Java servlet page. For that, I need a specific library. Example, my middleware using Spring, Java Spring Boot. So I will need respective libraries. Like that, to build any application, we may need to use n number of libraries. You know what? Java libraries, we usually call it as Java files. From the testing perspective, we are going to use Selenium. And if you know, Selenium will be having around 20 to 30 different Java files for different purpose. So the purpose why we are going to use this tool is for maintaining dependencies. So dependencies are nothing but the Java files or the libraries that we want to use in that project. So this Maven ensures that the project JAWS and libraries are downloaded automatically. You know what? As I told you, while working with Selenium, we may need to handle around 20 to 30 different Java files. So going to internet, downloading those Java files manually. And one important thing is those all should be belonging to the similar version or related versions. So that is another issue, right? So we can't remember that. And even if we miss one or a few job files, that will give us an error while executing the project. So this Maven is doing the job of going to the internet and downloading the job files automatically, and it will be adding it to my project. So it will take care of the version dependencies as well as per the details that I'm going to mention in the project object model file, which is called POM file. So I'll explain you how it works and what is that POM file means, all those things. Before that, we are all working in Eclipse environment for doing our automation testing using Selenium. So how to create a Maven project? You all might be having a question. Should I install Maven before that? If I want to add that project with my Eclipse, all those questions. So nowadays, most of the latest Eclipse versions by default coming with Maven plugin. I mean the Eclipse for Java developers or Java EE Enterprise Edition. It's automatically coming with the Maven plugin. So I really don't need to install anything specifically for Maven in my system. The plugin itself will be taking care. Now I'm going to tell you how to create a Maven project for testing purpose. So I'll be going to file new. Currently, it's not displaying here. So I'm going to other. There under Maven, I can see Maven project. So I have to click this and click the next button. So it will be displaying me one page Why I'm going to check this checkbox. This is very important because I'm going to use this project just for testing purpose. I mean, for automation testing purpose. So I just need a simple Maven project because I'm just going to use Maven for my dependency management purpose. And I'm going to click next, and it's asking me for group ID, artifact ID. Group ID, we usually give the name of the organization. Any name we can give, whatever it is. Say for an example, I'm going to give my name Vijay Bharati, and artifact ID is nothing but the name of the job file which should be created. Or better, I will change it to hello hyphen selenium, and the artifact ID also I can have the same name. No harm in that. So as I told, Maven is build and the project management. So adding the job files under project management. What do you mean by build? You might have a question. So the purpose of every code, whatever we are writing, it should be like executable somewhere in the end user environment or in the server. So every Java file should be converted into an executable Java file or a WAR file or deployable format. So this Maven is taking care of that task, and it will compile our code and package it and give it in a required format. That is the action which is called build. But from the testing perspective, we will not use that for purpose, but we will just use Maven for dependency management purpose. So if you see here, some structure, default structure will be created, folder structure. Let's quickly have a look what is this folder structure means. So this is how the folder structure is. There is a source file. Under source file, there are two folders, main and test. And under source main, we have two folders, Java resources. Similarly, under test as well, we have two folders, Java resources. So now we might have a question, where to write my code, which folder I have to use. So as I told you earlier, this is just for a project creation building purpose. So actual Java project can be created using this folder. So I'm going to create application means the application related code will be under SRC main Java. And to test that application related code, unit testing, we will be writing the test cases in SRC test Java. So from our view for Selenium automation, we usually write our code in SRC test Java folder. I'll show in the Eclipse as well. And the folder called resources. So what it usually have? Example, in this right side image, they are creating an application. So Java files are present in SRC main Java, and the supported files, whatever the supported files that they are having it in the main resources. Similarly, the supported files for testing, say we will be having the test cases, test data, Excel sheets, like other files, maybe test ng XML file, whatever it is. So test supported files will be placed under SRC test resources. It's very important that our Java code should be written in SRC main Java either or under SRC test Java. If you are creating our Java files under resources, it will not be executed. And one more thing, there is a folder called target. So what is the purpose of this folder means? As I told, this Maven will convert my entire project into a jar file by performing the building action. So that jar file will be placed in this target folder. That is the purpose of that. Then very important part in the Maven is nothing but pom.xml. So this is one file. It's going to be an XML file. XML is the format of the file, which will be taking care of this entire project. We can manage that entire project using this file. So the similar folder structure available here is as main Java, main resources, test Java, test resources. One more thing I want to tell here is Maven will work only with JDK. So we can check our JDK by right clicking, going to the build path, configure build path. Here we can check whether we are working with JDK or not. Currently it's showing some system library. If I click edit here, it is showing some JRE version. But if I want, I can click and select my required JDK. So this is one thing I thought of telling you. That's all. It's an empty project. If you are doing a Maven project in your laptop for the first time, I'll suggest you have to right click on it, go to the run as Maven install. There is an option called a Maven install. You have to click this. So this command will do execute and download all the required Maven related dependencies. And it will be showing the message, build a success or failure, whatever it is. Currently, it's not required to download new things for me. So it's just showing me, and it's creating a empty jar file as well in the target folder. This is a jar file. It's empty project. So anyway, it's creating a jar file in the target folder and showing the message like build a success. So this is the first action that you can do, run as Maven install. Now coming back to this pom.xml, I told this is the file, which is very important file using which we are going to do all the actions. It's a file, XML file. So whatever I mentioned while creating the project, those are here: group ID, artifact ID, and the version is default 0.01 while creating project. So this is the project related information. Now let's see what are all I can do using this pom.xml. So what is the purpose of pom.xml? So this file can have dependencies. Dependencies meaning we can have multiple libraries added using this file. Then we can define the life cycle of the project. Life cycle means, what are the actions that I have to do sequentially. Like, first we will be writing code, then we will compile the code. Then, we will make it as a jar file. Like that, we can define the life cycle or goals. But, as a part of testing, we'll be using it for managing dependencies. Sometimes we'll be executing the plugins as well. So that part is sufficient for the testers. And there is something called a Maven repository. It's mentioned here. I'll explain you about it. All right. Now, we might have a overview like, okay, it's a tool which is going to download some Java files and put it in my project so that it will make our life easier. Also, it will do the build purpose. I mean, creating an executable jar file of my project. How this Maven works. Before showing this, I'll show this Maven repository, how it is there in the online. So maven.apache.org is the website. So they are having all the libraries, Java libraries, already stored in their central repository. Central repository is nothing but they are storing in the internet with all the versions. Additionally, they do have plugins. So if you want to know more about plugins, here you can read about it. It can do multiple actions as well. We will see that. But we are majorly using this for dependency management purpose. So Maven Central Repository is the repository which will be having all the data. It do have a mirror repository as well. In some of the projects, they will be having their own repository where they will be having sanitized jar files, or they will do vulnerability scanning and they will do sanitized jar file in their organization. We will be downloading from that. So it's a somewhat complex architecture, but I'll explain you how it exactly works. Now, going back to the slide. So this is the website. Now let's see how to add one jar file and how it works. First, I will show how it works. Then we will see in the diagrammatic view. So I'm going to add one dependency or a jar file for Selenium. So Selenium Maven dependency. So in Maven, Java files are called the dependencies. Okay, I'm going to use Selenium with Java. So it's coming as Selenium Java. So here it's showing all the versions available from the past for last 5 6 years or so many. So I'm interested in the very latest version, maybe 4.1.4. If I click this, it is taking me to this page. As I told you earlier, Selenium Java requires around 20 to 30 Java files. I can't manually go and download all the Java files of same version and add it with my project manually. So process is very simple here. You have to click this box. If you click this here, there will be a message called copy to clipboard. You have to come to this project. Now I am going to add dependencies. Correct. Dependencies are nothing but I want this Java files to be added. So if you type control space, it will come. And why I'm typing dependencies manually means I can add more number of dependency here. Currently, I'm going to add one. So I will just do control V, or I'm just pasting it. Inside a dependencies tag, I'm pasting this dependency. Currently, there is no any jar files added in my project, only JRE system libraries are there. As soon as I click the save button, in the bottom, I can see there is something called building. If I double click on it, it will show that what are the jar files are being downloaded from Maven through internet. So it is showing progress like 62%. It's downloading so many jar files. It may take some time because I just added a new version. Based on your internet speed, it will be downloading. And once it is downloaded, where it will kept it in a folder in our local machine. And our project will reference that jar file or refer the jar file. I'll show how we can see that. So one thing, in some of the organizations will be having internet restrictions. So that time we'll use proxies to connect to this specific website alone to download the jar files. Without that, Maven will not work. So I think downloaded most of the jar files. It is doing the action called building, and it will download source jar files as well. I mean the source code that is optional, but anyway, most of the time it will download it. It's showing the progress. Let it do. And building 100% it's showing here. Now it's started downloading the source jar files. Once it is downloading here, there is something called Maven dependencies added just below my JRE system library. If I open this, I'll be able to see all the jar files related to Selenium of the same version, right? Manually, I can't do it. I can't remember these versions, these many jar file names, but my Maven will do automatically for me. And if you see where it is downloading and putting, no, it is putting in a folder called users Vijay Bharati. It's creating a hidden folder called .m2, and it's following some hierarchy folder structure according to the name of the jar file. So this is how it works. Now, once this is downloaded, currently it's downloading Java docs. I can test by right clicking and doing run as Maven build. If I do it now, it will take some time because it's already downloading it. I'll do it later. So how Maven works, like exactly how I told, I will be having Java projects. Let me take pointer if I can. I'm not able to. Yeah, I'll take that pointer. Here's a pointer. So I'm having a Java project and I'm referring multiple Java files. These are some examples. Because the purpose of referring jar files, I have to reuse the code. So I'm mentioning those jar file names, in the pom.xml. That is the first step. Once this is done, I am pressing the save button. That's it. It will automatically do. I did Maven install already. It will automatically check my local repository. Local repository means After number 5, it will go to my local repository. It will be in C drive users, your username with the .m2 folder, hidden folder. For me, I'm using the Mac OS or Linux OS. It will be in /home username. So this folder will be created while doing Maven install. We don't need to do anything called a Maven build. It will do automatically while pressing the save button. Suppose the Java files requested, I was requesting 4.14 in Selenium. If that is not available, then it will go to the Maven central repository, which is nothing but internet, and it will download from that, and it will put it in the local repository as well as it will be referred in my project. After that, I can perform action like compile or build. It will do and create my Java project. So I have added Selenium dependency in the POM file. It was first checking in my local repository, which I can't see it. Then it was doing downloading from the central repository and it is added. Now I'll do that Maven build and see whether I'm getting an error or not. So there are two Maven builds available. You might be wondering why. So in this Maven build, I can mention what goal my project is going to do. So I'll be mentioning clean. What is clean means? It will delete the existing jar file from the target folder. Then I'll be typing compile, compile space. I mean, in between each goal, I'm adding a space also. Compile will compile my code to ensure there is no compilation error. Then there is something called package. Package command will do create a jar file and putting in a target folder. So there are so many goals available. I am just explaining the basic goals. And if I click run button, it will do all the actions one by one. So first it is deleting the jar file from the existing target. Here it's showing here. Then it is doing compilation. Then it is building the jar file and putting in the target folder. And it is showing like build a success. So if you can see this, then we can assume that our Maven project is working fine in with my Eclipse IDE. So this is a simple way how we can maintain the dependencies as well and can perform the build action using Maven project. And if it is already available in the local repository, example, what I'm going to do, Selenium 4.1.4 is the new one. Maybe I'm going to change it to 4.1.1 and I'm going to press the save button. I know I already have projects with this, so it is earlier downloaded. If I press the save button, it will not take much time. It will take a few seconds. It's already completed. It will immediately change the entire version to 4.1.1. If you see that, it is not downloading it. So that is the beauty of Maven. If the version is already available in my local repository or earlier downloaded, it will quickly use it. If it is not available, it will go to the internet, download and use it. So every time, whenever we are getting a new Selenium version, within a single minute, we can update the version from this file, pom.xml. So this is easy for the version management as well for the dependencies. This is one another thing I thought of telling you. I mean, we can increase or decrease the version whenever it is required. And exactly why we are doing this, why we need a Maven project or this tool. Earlier we were using some tool called Ant. Ant is another tool, for another build tool, I would say. It will do compile as well as package. That time we have to manually go to the internet and download each and every version of jar file. Suppose I miss one or two jar files, or if suppose I change the one or two jar files with a different version, then my entire project will not be built. We'll be getting some compilation error and it will take more time to debug. But this Maven is making the build process very easy. That is point number one. And point number two, it's providing the guideline for best development practice. It's giving me a folder structure as well. and transfer migration to new feature. Whenever there's upgrade required, we can immediately do it. Quality of project information, which is nothing but, in the log it's showing build success, build failure, and as well as the other information related to the project while building it. So these are the some of the reason why we need to use Maven project. So this is just a quick overview. We will be using plugins also with Maven. We will be using the project goals also with Maven. Over the time, whenever it is required, we will be using that. But the idea of this is to just to explain what is Maven and how Maven works. So you just can test your system or your Eclipse with Maven just by doing these steps. So that's all for the day. Thank you all for watching.